All right, y'all. Hey, this is the Life of Logos podcast. I'm Collin.
I'm Ken.
We're getting right into it today. We have a story.
Paper. Oh, yep.
Yeah, we're doing it. Hey, look, paper is good. It's better when it's recycled.
8x10.
So this one,
Take big.
this was actually, in some ways, a story. We always start with why we're writing stories, right?
Yep.
So this one, I was looking at the status of men and women's relationships in 2025.
Okay.
And I was
Talk about that.
it sucks.
Not a good time.
It's not a good time. And I think what's happening right now is that one, especially our generation, by the way, millennials-ish, almost not millennials. We're at the tail end of millennials.
It's a privilege and a curse at the same time. I wouldn't be so proud to be a millennial if I didn't see who came after us.
True.
Damn.
Sorry, y'all.
Y'all cooked.
Yeah. Extra crispy, dog.
Y'all are cooked. Well, when we used to say cook, like you did a good thing. Y'all are cooked like
Overcooked.
burnt, not good. You are burnt by life.
Dry chicken.
Burn out at 23. Like, it's just crazy, dog.
They look old, too.
Don't they?
Weirdly old.
Don't they?
You don't drink enough water?
They don't drink enough anything. They don't drink enough water or liquor. And I don't understand what's wrong with them.
You gotta choose one.
I mean, both would be preferable. You gotta do something. You gotta do something. So they just worried about their mental health, but they're concerned about it, but they don't do enough for it. Okay? So I think they're like hyper aware almost to like an obnoxious point of their mental health. And is that an important thing? Yeah, but like hyper awareness of anything doesn't make it better.
True.
Like we all get that things happen in like a week, and it's like, man, that's not a good thing. But is that my whole life? No. Is my whole life centered around like, Collin, you did me dirty today, man?
I probably did.
You could have been a better person than me. Yeah, I'm mad. And I sit there and I'm just rocking on the floor.
You ain't calling anybody out.
I'm not any person. But why are you looking at the floor?
I'm looking at the candy. There's a candy sitting there, by the way. But
Believe what you want to believe. But
men and women's relationships.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and the generation behind us not doing any better.
Cooked.
And I think you are making a very good point of like when it comes to mental health things, it's not good enough to acknowledge the problem until you do something to work the problem.
And you can't center your life around your problem. I can have anybody come and from DOD, active duty military experience, you can go at the end of your active duty service period, when you get out, there's a VA claim.
Right.
Okay? A lot of people do have mental health issues, right?
Yeah.
But there's an argument to be made that all of us do to some extent.
True.
Right? Given the nature of our training, given the nature of the things that we were not necessarily able to do.
True.
And some of the things that we were made to do necessarily not because we wanted to, but because we had to. Moving, being work, goodness, you don't even get to pick your job. Sometimes they'll pick a job for you and move you from that job that you had to adjust to in the first place.
Guilty.
Happens often. So you can either sit there and be like, I'm mad at the military. It was a rough time for me, but you then discount all the benefits that you did gain because of it. You then get mad at the system that you chose to be in the first place. And you can shit on it and talk about it in this negative way and not be grateful for the things that it did give you, the experience, the knowledge, the know-how, the expertise, and the means to live the life that you're living and the opportunities outside of that. Or you can sit and you can rock and be like, it's so bad, it's so evil, it's this wrong, dirty thing that I chose, but it's fault. I tried to change the whole military, and the military came and said, this is what the military is. This is how the military operates. You understand what the military is? He said, yes. And then you sign on the paper for the military, and you're like, I don't understand why the military would treat me like this. It's crazy, right? And I feel like in modern relationships, people treat the relationship like it's something, one, they didn't sign up for. So quick caveat to that, you got to know what you're signing up for before you sign up for. There needs to be a period of not, hey, you're bad. Hey, you're attractive. Let's date. There's got to be a period of exchange where I understand you, you understand me. I can see that you understand me, and you can see that I understand you. And in that trade-off, then you start to build rules and a foundation around it. And from there, a relationship is born, and then you can stack that out. When you don't do that, you end up in this situation where you feel like either you're getting swindled or your mental health is under attack. And there are definitely situations where you can do that, right? Or you can lay out all the ground rules, or you can lay out all the foundations. And then within there, a person can get comfortable. And a person can then be like, now that all my needs are met, now I don't have to do X, Y, Z criteria because now I'm loved unconditionally. I'm loved unconditionally, so now I don't have to show up anymore. Oh, my job thinks I'm a great worker. Woo, that's great. I'm so glad that I got that. Now I'm just going to not show up to work anymore. I'm not even going to just do the thing to just pop up at work and sign my time card. I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to stay in bed. It's 4:00. They're calling me. Have you been to work today? Yeah, I work here. And you hang up on your boss. Right? That's what people do. And then it's, you switched up. No, I'm being the same me. No. So I think there's a lot of that self-preservation. I think it's a lot of lack of accountability. I think it's a lot of blaming external things that are actually internal. And a lot of times your external situations are a mirror to what's internally going on inside of you. And because of that, relationships suck. Can't love other people if you can't love your damn self. Can't understand other people if you don't understand yourself. And understanding yourself isn't going through the DSM-5 and saying this is what's wrong with you. What the hell is right with you? You know? And there's something right with everybody. There's something wrong with everybody too. There's a bunch of shit wrong with me. But nevertheless, what is right with you? What are you doing right? What can you consistently show up for? What do you consistently, I can do that. I can string 2, 3, 4, 5 of them joints together. For me, a long run, for example, I could do 5, 10, 20 days of 10-mile runs. I wouldn't like doing that, but I know that physically I could do that, right? I could sign on a piece of paper that said, for 10 days, I can do 10 miles and take no days off and do exactly 10 or more miles. Some people have this delusion that they could do the same thing.
I can't do that.
That's very honest of you, right? And I can meet you and say, that's fine. And that's you. And I would have to accept that. But if you were to be like, hey, we're going to start a running group and we're going to do 10 miles every day for 10 days. 10 days. If I said that's the running group, and you say, yeah, I can do that. And that's all right. We got to be there at 10 o'clock. We're going to call it the 10 with Ken. Okay?
10 with Ken.
10 with Ken.
I'm with it.
Right? You sign up for the 10 with Ken and you bust your ass the first day. And I'm like, damn, man, Collin sweating, but my boy made it. He got through there. Yeah. That's what's up. Second day, he like, man, I didn't tweak my ankle. I'm hungry. I'm good for a good 8 today. Yeah. I have grace. It's cool. People got stuff to do. That's fine. But then the next day, maybe you do 4 miles. Day after that, you don't show up. And then from there, I'm texting you. I can't even get a hold of you. Oh, where you at? You ain't come to the 10 with Ken? Nah, dog. Matter of fact, I can't even do that. To me, you lied. Okay?
You lied. There's no to you about it. You just lied.
You just lied. You can't do it. You could never have physically done what you said that you could do on one side, which to me feels like betrayal and swindling. But on the other side is, and the scarier thing to me is, did you have the delusion that you could do that, but you never tried it before? Like you've never done anything similar? And it's, yeah, I can do that, you know? And maybe that's pride working.
Maybe.
Right? Maybe.
That's great. Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. Well said.
Could be. And you're just moving off of that and saying, oh, I can do anything I put my mind to. And I'm like, true, if you have a track record of doing what you put your mind to.
That's also true.
Okay? Like, you can't be like, I can do anything. Well, have you tried anything? Have you tried a lot of stuff? Have you tried to be active and engaging and step out of your comfort zone and get out of your own head? And can you see the world as it really is? And can you see how yourself is in that world as you really are? Or do you have this fantasy land, space mountain?
It's a world of laughter, a world of tears. That's all we're going to do.
I ain't going to sing the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? Are we in fantasy land? Or are we riding the merry-go-round? Or are we grounded in reality? And I think a lot of people aren't grounded in reality, and that's why these young people are cooked.
Yeah. I think 90% of the population is not grounded in reality.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a good time reading this story. So I wrote a story I don't need to take you off your vibe. You
Go
on
ahead,
there.
go ahead.
Again, let him cook.
Hey, I'm off my soapbox. We
We-
take 2 steps off.
But what we do is we create stories.
Yeah.
So I created this story about the men's-women's relationship.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like you got a lot to unpack here, as they would say. You got a lot to unpack here, brother.
The way my little brother would say it is hit dog don't holler. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hit dog, don't holler.
All right. So this is the story. I'm calling it Love in LA.
Love it.
And it does take place in Los Angeles.
Hey, hit dog, don't holler. That is
Yup.
true.
So it
That
follows.
is,
I'm gonna
I
say
ain't heard that one in a minute, but yeah.
that's a southernism.
Yeah, show it. Show it.
We're gonna say this one has 3.5 couples in it.
Okay.
All right. So the
Okay.
first couple is Mark and Martha.
Mark and Martha.
By
Easy.
the way. So Mark works at Los Angeles Air Force Base. He's a
LA
contractor.
Is he an SSC?
He's an SSC.
Is he in space? Is what's coming? Or is he back in SMC?
It takes place in 2025. It's SSC.
SSC. Okay. SSC.
All right.
All right. Fine.
Shameless plug. It's also broken up. Each chapter, you probably can't see it, but each chapter is a date. And it's supposed to be 2025.
Okay.
So he's a contractor. He married this person named Martha.
Okay.
Martha went to USC with her 3 other friends.
Mm.
Martha, Danielle, Tiffany, and Rachel. That's going to be important in the story. Not that they went to they went to UCLA. Not that they went to
big
UCLA.
difference.
Yeah, huge differences. They all went to UCLA together. They're still best friends. They all live in the South Bay area, Torrance, Redondo Beach, and Central.
All right.
So Martha recently found out she's pregnant.
Ooh, Martha Ben.
She's married to Mark.
Oh, true.
Hey,
True.
That's God sanctioned punani.
However you frame it. Yeah.
Shoot.
Hey,
It's framed in a ring. I'm with it. Her best friend.
Mark knocked it out of the frame.
Yeah. Shoot. Hey.
But
She is a high-powered lawyer at a local lawyer firm.
so when you say high power, is she more Mihai or Gallic?
Kamehameha.
Okay. Yeah.
She works.
So she's blonde.
She's blonde. Her best friend is named Danielle.
Okay.
Also high-powered worker. Same firm.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Part of the story that's happening is Martha is because she made a partner at the firm. Because she's stepping down, she's recommending Danielle to take her place.
Okay.
Here's the catch.
Oh.
The owner of the firm really prefers people who are married to other people.
Really?
They're grounded. That's just, it has to be part of the story.
Okay.
So, their next friend, Tiffany, is a former teacher who lost her job.
Okay.
And then their last friend, Rachel, she's just there.
Yeah.
She's part of the story. But they're best friends. We see them all living their life together. There's a lot of moments throughout the story where they're just kind of having brunch.
It's like Friends.
It's friends-ish.
Okay.
Conversely, on the other side,
I'll be there for you. I'll be there.
Mark works with a guy named James.
Okay.
He's a captain in the Air Force.
Okay.
He's separating. Yes. That's an important part of the story. Also, if you don't know, when you're separating from the Air Force, you have to take a series of tests, one of which is like a mental health assessment. We'll get to that later.
Fail. No.
I did.
Fail mine, boy.
James is living with a guy named Rich.
Okay.
Right? Rich is just got out of his wedding, or just got out of his marriage. The divorce lawyer that supported his wife is Danielle.
Oh.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah. So Mark and Martha, they got married. They're having a baby.
Okay.
Danielle is as far to the feminist side as it can go.
Okay.
Very hardcore feminist.
It's because Basho's getting spicy.
Rich, hardcore red pillar. Doesn't believe like the whole female relationship, women are this way, women are that way, because he's grieving the loss of his wife.
Right.
Give them both a little bit more backstory. So Danielle's dad was a deadbeat who was an alcoholic who beat his mom.
Sheesh.
Yeah. He beat her to death while she was in college.
Hence deadbeat.
Indeed. Dead beatings.
You can't laugh at that.
I'm trying my best. Rich, his mom was super domineering, so he found somebody equally domineering. Who ended up walking out and cheating on him with some suit.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Just get the story.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are these.
Dang.
This is the outline,
Hell of a setup.
and it takes it chapter by chapter.
Okay.
So there's also living arrangements. That's a crucial part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Mark and Martha naturally live together.
I would hope so.
Rich moved in with James. They are sharing a condo. They're roommates.
All right.
All of the women are living together.
Okay.
So, yeah, one means Danielle, Tiffany, and Rachel.
So the guys live together,
Yep.
girls live together, Danielle or Mark and Martha live together because they're a married couple.
Yep.
All right. So everybody's tracking.
Let's get into it. Now, if we get confused with the names, I'm just going to read this. Give me feedback as we go.
All right, cool.
All right, so chapter 1. The chapter begins with 32-year-old Danielle Martinez, Danielle, arriving at the apartment that she shares with Rachel and Tiffany. Her Bluetooth earpiece crackling with an irate client screaming about custody arrangements, apologizing for being late to their Sunday brunch. Then Martha, who's 29, a little bit younger, but she's 32 too, is glowing with a secret, waiting for Danielle to end her call before she says, Mark and I are having a baby. Then Rachel tears up with joy because she's battling her own loneliness. There's a backstory between Rachel. Rachel grew up in a house where the mom frequently had new men around, so she's just looking for a relationship. Tiffany is peppering Martha with questions about her relationship, where she shows the theme. The theme being, always listen to understand, not to be right.
Run that back one more time. Again, the microphone a little funky. If you can say that one more time. One more time.
The theme of the story is always listen to understand, not to be right.
That's wow. Just one more time so it rings and it resonates with the people.
Right. Always listen to understand, not to be right.
Not to be right, to understand.
Right.
What a message. Man.
And I think if we actually did that, it would fix the whole dynamic between men and women.
Yeah.
Anyway, subtle foreshadowing at the end of that where Danielle is forcing a smile behind the exhaustion. And she mentions that she won't be able to make the next brunch because she has to go get a blood donation at the Red Cross.
Okay.
Chekhov's gun moment there. March 2nd. So then we see Rich Kowalski in his Redondo Beach with his roommate, James. Everyone's playing around, having a good time. They ended to go meet at American Junkie in Hermosa Beach, where Mark...
Good time. They get the big drinks.
Yeah. Mark shows up. Martha's pregnant. And they all celebrate together. And then they go on where Rich says, you did better than I did because my ex is probably pregnant too, but just not with my kid.
Damn.
Ouch. Then James goes on to a choir announcement about his military separation and his plans to start a consulting firm.
Okay.
But he's going to tell them that he doesn't want to take his anxiety medication anymore. The chapter will continue with chapter 3. We go see Martha in her office. And she's going back and forth about her separation or her leaving the firm. And then I didn't do this part, the team did, but they named the guy Harold Weinstein, who is the lawyer firm.
Hey.
Anyway, so she recommends
spin-off book after this one.
Yeah. She recommends that Danielle goes up for the thing, and then they talk about how she has a perfect record and she did all of these hours. She rivals lawyers twice her age. But family lawyers who understand family tend to serve clients better.
Ooh.
To be clear, Danielle is a divorce lawyer.
Yeah.
That's an important part. The chapter will detail Danielle's making partner. And they're like, hey, great. She is going to buy a house in celebration.
Okay.
So she buys a house. Chapter 4, blah, blah, blah. They go to O'Malley's for this is the guys back together. They're having at O'Malley's for March 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
And Rich is like, hey, man, things are going great. This is the best I've been since the divorce. I'm also going to buy a house. Turns out they buy houses that are 4 houses above.
How? Also speaks to them being in the same socioeconomic status, right?
Right.
Like if you're looking for a house and live homes, like, again, the fact that you would end up in the same area, I think that also speaks to like the earning there too.
Right. She owns a plumbing business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she's a woman.
Cool.
Which, by the way, shameless plug, owning the business is where it's at. Anyway.
Ain't it?
Yeah.
Ain't it?
So while they're out, Tiffany happens to run into James. Right? And they're like, oh, you're interesting. They end up going out.
That's interesting. So when they go out, again, like individually, apart from the group?
Yeah.
They do their own like little meetup, their own little rendezvous.
Right.
Harmless, I'm sure.
But that's part of the story later. Anyway, so then Rich and Danielle we see Rich and Danielle touring different properties, and they both happen to pick one right next to each other. Then we see Danielle's therapy session, because she goes to therapy because she's free, where she talks about how her father was beating her mother. She beat her to death while she was at college. She had been begging her mother to leave her father, but her father felt trapped. That's why Danielle decided to become a divorce lawyer, to make sure that other women don't feel trapped in their relationships. Right. We got to develop a character a little bit.
So now her dad's trapped in jail.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
It's tough.
Everybody trapped.
Yeah. I mean, hey. Fast. We continue on. It's now March 24th. Danielle has water. Oh, so Danielle's moved into her house. She's having a plumbing problem, and she looks for a place, Kowalski Plumbing, on the phrase, we give a crap, which is fine. So naturally, Rich shows up, which he also happens to live down the street. And they're going back and forth, they're teasing each other, but you can tell that there's some chemistry. All right, so March 31st happens. So they're at Sunday brunch again. Rachel introduces this girl she met named Star. Okay. She's a traveling nurse at Torrance Memorial. And then they go into this tirade about how there's so many worthless men around and they have the inability to commit. She, Rachel, is now dating Star. Danielle gave her a quick warning of, hey, listen.
It's a messy story, dog.
Oh, hey. It's because everything has to line up.
It makes sense.
Rachel is...
Makes sense.
Now, so yeah, check in. Martha and Mark dating. Rich and Danielle, tension, not dating.
Okay.
James is dating Tiffany. And Rachel's dating Star.
Okay.
But Danielle has to let her know, just in the case, lesbian relationships tend to have the most verbal and physical domestic violence.
The highest divorce rate of anybody, because even they can't stand each other.
That is factually accurate.
Look it up.
That is no shame, just factually accurate.
Happy June.
10th.
I'm gonna do it every time.
I don't blame you for that. All right. Star goes away to take a call, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, Rachel then unconsciously rubs her wrist where a bracelet vaguely doesn't cover a faint mark.
Okay.
So, the guys are back over at American Junkie, where James is recounting his separation account to Mark and Rich, and he just makes light of this thing. He's like, oh, yeah, they asked me if I ever killed myself. And he was like, yeah, hasn't everybody thought about it? And they just pass it off. Mark is getting more concerned. And then they talk about his relationship with Tiffany just a little bit. Once they blah, move on to April 7th. So April 7th, this week, Rich is going to go work on Danielle's pipes. He's got to fix her pipes. You know what I'm saying?
Is he laying pipe or is he just
fixing it?
Just fixing
it. And then connecting on a couple podcasts, reality TV, blah, blah, blah. Which doesn't make a lot of sense because they're on opposites ideologically. But we see some teasing banter going back and forth.
Okay.
Then we're going to see an increasing presence of Tiffany at James's condo. Rich bought his own house. He moved out. It's the thing. Tiffany's, I can spend more time over there. She starts staying there.
Fair.
The overnight bag becomes a permanent fixture in his closet. She receives calls from the landlord because now that Danielle has moved out, she's having trouble paying the bill. Oh. Yeah, so Star and Tiffany are in the apartment.
Tension.
They're having trouble paying because Danielle moved out. All right, so Mark and Martha have a prenatal class in Torrance where they start venting their struggles about what it's about to be like to have a child. Then, so let's get that. April 21st. So Danielle happened to go to Hennessy's down over the beach.
I was about to say, you just writing that little.
Yeah. Hey, we're all in today.
Spinning the block.
Yeah.
I feel you.
She has after a brutal divorce thing, she goes to her favorite high top. She's been to Hennessy's. That's where it looks over the water.
You know I love Hennessy. One, for the name alone, but also I love an Irish pub.
I'm not mad at that.
Okay.
She goes up there and she finds Rich. Turns out they have the same favorite spot. So they end up watching the sunset, going on together, sharing stories, having a good time.
It's mad romantic.
It's mad romantic. They walk out to the pier and then blah, blah, blah. He then explains about his background with his mom and what happened with the divorce and the other guy sleeping with his wife because she wanted a high status guy.
So they must be very like intimately vulnerable, right? Like very like emotionally vulnerable, be able to share all this information back and forth. So that really speaks to the depth of these characters and the depth of the kind of connection that they have that they're experiencing right now.
Right, because things are going well. Because the theme is listen to understand, not to be right. So this first part, they're just listening to each other,
like a lawyer would.
Yeah, just listening. Yeah, exactly. Listen and understand. Man, the lawyer's definitely got to be right. And then they share their first kiss, tasting whiskey on each other's lips.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, she was drinking whiskey too.
Yeah, she was drinking whiskey too.
Oh, if you want to do anything else, you need to stop drinking that whiskey. If I know what I know, probably. Again, we could put a sponsorship right here. But yeah, if you're drinking too much whiskey, boy, you might
have one of these.
Everybody got their drink, man. You might want to add ease on that one.
Hey, shoot. All right, we get to May 12th. So then there's Star and Rachel and Tiffany and James all go to a park together.
All right.
James and Star are just playing hoops. Tiffany and Rachel are sitting there plotting. They're playing basketball, and Star's aggressive. She like checks your boy James and just knocks him out.
Dang, she's strong.
And she put her shoulder in him. Real. She said, I'm just playing hard. And then Tiffany and Rachel are over there discussing what are we going to do about the rent. Hey, we're just going to move in with our respective partners. That's the plan.
So it's very finessey. We're going to just use our scenarios to be, which is very, if we can take a pause and a beat real quick, I feel like that's just so unfair because you just don't really see the opposite happening. We would plot and be like, we're seeing these young ladies, we're going to just said you just wouldn't. It wouldn't work. Doesn't even sound right. No. We mumbled it because it don't even sound right coming out of our orifices. It doesn't. What?
It doesn't sound right.
That's crazy. It wouldn't feel right either. It wouldn't happen. Even if you could, it doesn't. Yeah. Oh man, that's. Oh, I feel dirty.
Yeah, but they do it
right. Yeah.
This has never happened to anybody ever. Yeah. I couldn't name 4 people off the top of my head who've been in the situation besides myself at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not exactly 4. It's not like SNL didn't make a joke about it 2 weeks ago.
It's not. I couldn't name them about 4.
Yeah. It's probably not in the same 4. It's not my 4.
Probably not, which is even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a surprisingly common phenomenon.
Crazy.
Anyway, so we see both Star being kind of violent.
Yeah.
And Tiffany, we're just going to move in with them.
Yeah.
All right. So we get to June. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's get this last bit. The chapter will explore the growing dynamic of couples. They discuss their moving arrangements.
So does Star have a bigger role now that it's June?
And there's only one scene in June. Rachel's starting to shrink away, though. That's the thing. So she starts to be like, I'm just not going to say as much.
Yeah.
Rachel. Tiffany. So Rachel starts getting smaller because of Star, and Tiffany becomes to dominate James' plans by making future plans with him. Gets his consent.
Ooh.
Anyway, June 9, the chapter opens with James in his therapist's office by admitting that he stopped taking his medication because Tiffany says he doesn't need pills to be happy when he's with her.
Wow. I'm all the dopamine you need.
True. Is it? Yep. And then we get to Rich and Danielle's lazy Sunday morning together, waking up in her bed as the relationship has progressed. Yeah.
Salsa.
Yeah. Their intimacy is stark contrast to their initial animosity.
Okay.
All right. So then, James comes home one day and finds that Tiffany has completely erased his living room. She scheduled activities for the next 3 weekends, and his protest dies up his protest dies as she tears up about just trying to help.
So let's stop right there. So we're having a moment where this guy is just going about his life. He's just minding his business, and his world just got shifted radically without his own consent or permission. And I think that's such an important thing that is talked about on one end, but not the other side. Consent, permission. I'm allowing you to do this. I have boundaries. This is a hard stop for me. This is a no. This is a go.
Yeah.
And again, when it seems harmless, when it's something like, oh, I'm just going to plan your weekend for you. Like, I'm not just going to include you in plans, but I've made plans for you. Not necessarily as a surprise or like a one-time thing or like didn't ask you, didn't really care, I wanted to do this thing, and basically you're an instrument for me to be able to do that.
That's correct.
But it's in my own best, this is what I wanted to do, and it sounded good to me.
Right.
But I didn't check in. Okay.
All of that's fun and games, by the way.
Fun and games for somebody.
Yeah?
All right.
Yeah.
Dying on the inside of fun and games.
It's like better than that one.
Put a song there.
Yeah. Whoop. All right, so the chapter concludes. The women get together for Sunday brunch, and they discuss several plans with Martha's growing baby bump, carefully avoiding the elephant in the room about their friends' increasingly concerning relationships.
Okay.
Then we get to the midpoint, July 4th, which is the exact midpoint of the year.
All right.
Yes? Yeah. Yep. So there's 365 days in the year. That means there's 182 days before July 4th and 182 days after.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not about taxes at all. Anyway, so the chapter will open. So they go to Mark and Martha's for a patriotic surprise, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Martha notices Rachel still wearing long sleeves despite the heat in the middle of the summer.
Okay.
Chapter expands the richest day souring because his ex-wife is now about to sue him for something.
Yeah.
His ex-wife seeking increased alimony due to his improved financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, chapter details Tiffany's announcement. The party has been moved. Tiffany's announcement that she is officially moved in with James, and her possessive display of as she plans their future children's names.
Oh my goodness!
While sitting in the lap, James forces a smile as the guests congratulate them. The chapter.
That's so great for you, James. I'm glad you planned that with your significant other.
Right.
I'm glad that you really had ownership and stewardship of this whole planning process, and that you're not just waking up in a situation that you didn't necessarily help drive or navigate towards. But congratulations.
Right.
I'm sure you're loving that.
The chapter concludes with a literal and metaphorical fireworks. The sky is exploding, while Martha catches a glimpse of the purple bruises on Rachel's wrists when her sleeves right up, reaching for the potato salad. And Star pulls away, knowing away with whispered threats that make Rachel's face go blank. Rachel flinches every time Star touches her.
Flinching.
Yep.
So they just doubled up.
July 28th. So 6 p.m., right?
Okay.
Tiffany and James are at James's house. Blah, blah. And then someone named Ashley sends a text with a heart emoji. Her accusations of infidelity waking up the entire condo complex as James tries to explain that's just a colleague from his new consulting venture. It's 6 p.m. In the summer, so the sun's still up.
Yeah.
The chapter expands the relationship-defining fight where James finally declares, "We are not in a relationship. We never were. You're only staying here temporarily until you get back on your feet." Each word landing like a slap as Tiffany realized he needs it.
I live here too. This is awesome.
Yeah. The chapter then details where Danielle backs out of her drive. No. Oh, yeah. We skipped the part. So Danielle and Rich get into a fight at the party.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, we'll keep it the way it is. Anyway, so Danielle backs out of her. No, this is important. I'll read this. So on the July 4th party, James brings up a conversation with Rich about women's roles in combats.
Okay.
And he's absolutely not, but she's really strong feminist. And they get into a fight at the party.
Right. Yeah. Not that there's an initial reaction or an innate reaction when they get,
Right. But they're speaking from a position of trauma, right? Because they're like, hey, she has all this bad experience with men. He has all this bad experience with women. And now we're yelling at each other through the trauma.
Right.
And then this next chapter, she backs out of the driveway and sees him. He says something slick to her. She knocks over his mailbox, or his trash can in the driveway.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's
toxic.
Hey. Chapter will conclude with James sitting on his balcony in his condo with Rich considering whether the drop would be enough. Tiffany sobs audible through the door. Rich surveys trash cans. So we're just seeing everybody upset. August 15th. This opens at the Proud Bird in El Segundo.
Again, we're just in the same look.
Hey, that's how it is.
All right, I feel
So,
it. I feel it.
Yeah, it's decorated for James' separation party.
Mm.
Forces a smile to his colleagues, blah, blah, blah.
They're near the hang.
Yeah, but he's also got 0 clients for his business, and his savings have been depleted from supporting Tiffany.
Ooh.
So the chapter expands. She, by the way, Tiffany announces to everyone at this party that they are boyfriend and girlfriend.
Okay.
Which is contrast to what he said
right.
in chapter 4.
Just said no.
Right. So then James's ex-girlfriend Melissa shows up, prompting Tiffany's performative announcement that she's officially moved in with her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's another explosive argument between Rich and Danielle, right? And then Rich is bitter have his ex-wife's desk job PTSD while clashing with Danielle's fierce defense, right? Just humiliating. And then the chapter concludes with Star's violent grip on Rachel's wrist when she jokes about her cooking. Martha confronts James about abandoning therapy.
She said, "You better shut up."
I know. Tiffany's manic insistent that everything is perfect while James contemplates asking Melissa out for coffee. Everyone's relationships are deteriorating as a consequence of choices. September 8th. Oof, we're going for a minute. All right. So then, Sunday brunch again. Tiffany casually mentions that they are charging their trips to Vegas with their credit cards. Ooh, what's $3,000 when you're in love?
Oh, still $2,000 USD. What are we talking about?
Shoot. While conveniently omitting that James explicitly told her to not plan the trip that they can afford.
Yeah.
The chapter will expand with Daniel's harsh reality check about Tiffany living rent-free for 5 months while maxing out the couple's cards on vacations.
Mm.
Her lawyer's precision dissecting Tiffany's justifications.
Mm-hmm.
And Rich has a call with Danielle because she hasn't paid $4,500 invoice for the plumbing work. Okay. And he's using his professional art. His employee go, "Hey, I'm gonna put a lien on your house because you can." That's how it works. But chapter concludes with Mark and James meeting for beers at the beach, where James admits that he enjoys spending time with Tiffany, but he doesn't meet his spiritual/mental needs. That he can't see other women without drama, and that she schedules so many activities he can't see his friends. Despite being sweet to her, he confesses that he actually resents her and feels unheard. She reaps all of the benefits while offering no support. When Rich presses her about her physical relationship, James admits that they don't have sex as much as they like. She never initiates it, and she feels that she's disgusted by him, making it him consider asking Melissa for a coffee. Yeah, so they talked about it. They pressed him October 13th. All right, so Rachel's mother comes to visit from San Francisco, and her sharp eyes immediately noting that Rachel has lost a lot of weight and she has nervous tics. And now she's constantly checking her phone for Star's messages. Then they go to Rachel's apartment where Star performs a good role, but Star's still ordering for Rachel, answering questions when they're directed at Rachel, and asks for permission to show her mother around the neighborhood. And then they detail Tiffany's credit card companies. Then they'll switch over to Tiffany. We see the credit card companies she's attempts to hide the calls from collection company, knowing that she's $47 grand in debt.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dang.
James' face is going gray as he realizes that she's been lying about getting back on her feet.
Yeah.
All right, so then we see Miss Chin, Rachel's mother, insisting that she comes home to San Francisco, but Rachel says she just loves her so much that she's controlling her. November 10th. All right, so then this is a callback to painting.
If I know what I know, if it's in November, about to get real good.
We're in there. All right, so then Danielle goes to the Red Cross for a donation. She does quarterly platelet donation. And there's only one chair there. It happens to be beside Rich. So,
dang,
those two are locked together side by side.
Give him plate. That's really dang, man. Y'all Academy kids, y'all was different. Yeah. Y'all can get off of school, which was jail. Yeah, like that. This is regular undergrad. So y'all know, y'all had the buses where it said platelet donation will be $120 for your first X amount of times. Yeah, bro, we was out there like crackheads. Yeah, I'm trying to go to the mall, man. Exactly. I need to get to Cancun this spring break. Take my blood. You gotta do what you gotta do. By the end of sitting next to each other, blood donation. Dang. Which is Chekhov's gun. We mentioned that in chapter 1. Okay.
So then they end up talking, and she tells a story about how her dad killed her mom, blah, 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 and how this is what her way of trying to give back to the cause of her mother. Right? And then Rich is the one that says first, help me understand. And they end up having the whole talk and whatnot. They get up and leave after coming back together to get they both get a text message at the same time saying they need to rush to the hospital. They go down to the hospital and find at 9 o'clock, and they find, and all of this, that James had survived a few suicide attempts back to back. So after trying to shoot himself, he jumped from his balcony and ended up driving his car off of the end of Redondo Beach, not nearby. So he tries to do his best.
He's what we call resilient on one side, but not resilient on the other side. Like he's cockroach on one side, resilient, mentally resilient, not true. Air Force resilient.
He was like, I'm done. I'm going. So he tried 3 times, failed all 3 times. He ends up in the hospital. Everybody's surrounding him at the hospital.
Yeah.
So then we have everybody come back together. This is Act 3.
Okay.
Or no, this is The Dark Knight Soul. So he says he couldn't pretend anymore. Then when Rachel shows up, she already has a black eye, poorly concealed by makeup. Rachel, Star works there, claiming that Rachel walked into a door and prompting. So the women get together and they go downstairs for another talk. But Danielle says, so Rachel and Tiffany both decide they're going to give it one last try.
Mm-hmm.
And Martha is like, I'm calling you out. We know that you're getting hurt. Stop doing this. She's like, I'm going to give it one more try.
Yeah.
And then in all of that, Martha says to Danielle, at least I had hope that things would work out for you, Rich.
Okay.
Right. Then Rachel goes to confront Star and actually ends up breaking off with her. Tiffany goes to go talk to James. But before she does, she runs into Rich. And Rich gives her the earful.
Okay.
It's all your fault. This is what he told me. This is what's going on. You didn't do this.
It's pop stuff.
Yeah. And then, to surprise, Danielle turns around and supports Rich against Tiffany. Yeah. She just abandons the sisterhood because he's right. But Tiffany goes there and talks to James anyway.
Sounds like when she was listening, she understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, listen to understand.
All right.
So then she goes in there, and James is lucid enough to be able to tell what's going on. She says, hey, listen, this is what's been going on. I think they actually laid this out a little bit. He says that he's just been suffocating. He needs this help. He needs the support. He's not getting it. And he feels like he can't get any way out because he has to take care of her.
Mm-hmm.
But then he decides that, you know what, he's got to go to county jail because now he's got a DUI. So he was getting drunk first.
Yeah.
You got a DUI, so you're going to be in jail for 6 months. You can stay at the house for 6 months, but then you have to leave.
Sheesh.
And he leaves.
Yeah.
Then they have an unconventional Thanksgiving afterwards. The baby's finally born on November 23rd.
Oh, what a day.
Yeah, it's a day for new beginnings. And they all process the situation. Fast forward, closing scene. It's 3 years later at Rich and Danielle's wedding.
Oh.
So they end up getting married at the end. Rachel finds out how to be herself without a relationship. Stars out the picture. Tiffany has figured herself out and taken responsibility for herself. And then James ends up going to become a men's mental health advocate in a different city. What ends up with Melissa?
I like that.
Yeah, that was a lot. I was like 20 minutes reading stuff. What do you think?
Good. Burn after reading.
Yeah, burn after reading.
Burn after reading. But I think there's a lot of like universal truths in there. Like a lot of guys are going through a lot right now, very quietly. Quietly just either going through the motions, trying to get through scenarios that necessarily they didn't sign up for, right? Slowly being bled to death financially, emotionally, spiritually, even. And they're just out there solo and don't necessarily have a community of other guys to communicate this with and to really lean on. Mm-hmm. But in that, maybe they're embarrassed, maybe it's you. I don't know. Maybe you feel a certain type of way about it. And, I don't want to tell my boys that because I feel a certain way about it. But you never know. Your boy might be going through the exact same thing you are. I know everybody's borderline Andrew Tate on one side. Yeah, man, if it was me, I'd do this. And if it was this, I'd do that, and etc. You go home and put the key in the lock, you turn the door, and you get up in there, and it might be a completely different situation. Yeah. I think that highlights that very well written, well framed, Nice character development in there, I see. And yeah, man, I think it's a great job.
We're gonna be writing it. I don't know when it's gonna be done, but it's a work in progress. It's on the list. And it's in the hopper.
I'm excited to read the rest of it when it's out. And it will be coming to a shelf, virtually or physically, near you sometime soon.
But we got a couple more stories to go through. That one was 47 minutes. So
we got more.
You. Until then, it's Life of Logos. I'm winded.
And I'm kinded.
We'll talk to you next time.
Y'all be easy.
Cool.